One of the most, I guess you'd call it, shocking situations I ran into driving forklift. I was working at Borg Warner, and we were moving in a really big drying oven. We had a conveyor system that ran the radiators through the plant, and they went through a test tank where they were checked for leaks. That got them really wet, and they needed to be dry before they went into the paint booth. So this oven was about 30 or 40 feet long, close to 40, might have been 35. Anyways, it was a long oven. They brought it in on a trailer. We went out back with the two forklifts. I had a 20,000 pound Clark off-road, duals on the front, solid rubber tires. And we had another 6-ton forklift on the other side. Now the oven wasn't heavy, but it was really big. So we had the 6-ton over there just to help keep it balanced. So we picked it up off the bed of the flatbed and had the flatbed drive out from under it. We set it back down. Then I was going to push it through the big doors into the building long ways, because we had to take it down aisleway and then do a left turn and put it into place at the end of the paint booth so that we could connect the linkage or link up the conveyor that went through the oven and the paint booth and the other parts of the plant. So I had two spotters. One spotter was down on the other end, and he was standing looking at me down through the center of the oven because the oven was as wide as the door frame. We had a personnel door that you could walk through, so even with the oven in the door, you still could get in and out of the building. But I couldn't see the sides of the oven. I could see the end, which was right in front of me, but the forks were right up against it, and I couldn't see around it. So I had a spotter on the other end, and he was looking down through the center of the oven, waving, stop, go. That's really all the controls I had on the thing. I couldn't turn it left or right. I needed to line up on the doorway and go straight through. We were doing okay. Unbeknownst to me, the rigging company, which we were working with, had put crawlers underneath it, those little roller type devices that they use to move things through plants. And the idea was they were going to be able to steer the front of the oven to keep it in line to where they were going. I was just going to travel straight forward. They were going to say start, stop. And that's all I needed to worry about. So I'm watching the guy through the opening, and he disappears. And for a second, I didn't know what to do. When I didn't see him, I stopped. Well, it's a good thing I did. The rigging company had used a crawler that supposedly, when they're new, they have a little hook on the front, and you have this bar that you can reach in, hook onto that hook on the front, and pivot the crawler to turn the oven left or right. He had decided that he needed to move the crawler. So he could have said stop, and we would have pivoted the crawler. But there was a problem with that crawler. The hook was broken. So he thought he would just reach down with his hand and move the crawler. Well, while the thing's moving, you can actually put a little side pressure on it and turn the crawler. He was wearing leather gloves. The fingertip of one of the fingers went underneath the crawler. And the crawler, it's got this oven on top of it. And it's heavy. So it pinches that leather, and the guy can't get his hand out. Well, rather than letting go and pulling his hand out of the leather, he tried to grab it and pull the leather out. So he clenched his hand. Well, what happened was it moved forward. His finger was in the leather glove, and his finger got caught underneath the crawler. Fortunately, it was only just first knuckle. I stopped. But he was under there, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go forward, didn't want to go back. I just stopped. So they had to have somebody run down the building, come out through the personnel door, and tell me to back up. So I backed up. They got him out from underneath the oven and got him off to the hospital to get his finger taken care of. And we had to finish moving the oven into the building. But that really bothered me. I didn't trust him after that. Rigging company should have never used that crawler. Never in a million years. And the guy running being my guide, should have never left his post. He should have just said stop. Then things could have been fixed, no problem. No chance of anybody getting hurt or caught. But it was too late. The guy got hurt badly. And that was a bad day for me. I felt terrible about it. Wasn't anything I could do, but I still felt terrible.